Hey there, Bloomers and friends. Rev Kev coming to you from the Bloom Chapel, Bloom Studio, Bloom Worldwide Headquarters. I have a special guest today, Reverend Dr. Stephen Wales, who for this past year has been our worship ministry coordinator and doing a downright bang up job of it. And Stephen is going to be moving into a new position, a new church growth and new member involvement as that ministry coordinator coming up with the new year. So I just wanted to sit down for just a couple seconds here and talk with him about that a little bit. The deal is we have masks on because everybody's in the same room here, so I know that usually I take my mask off and Russ is socially distanced, but we're going to leave masks on today, so we'll be doing that sort of fussing as is known. And I'm very generic, but Reverend Dr. Stephen here is all UCC'd up with his peace mask, and I'm sure those are available at a online resource somewhere.
They are.
So you can do that. So it's been a pleasure to work with you over this past year, and I am wondering if you have any highlights you want to, for your experience as a worship ministry coordinator. What have there been any highlights?
Well, yes. I think that the biggest thing for me has been to learn a whole new set of skills because of COVID, and to be working with Rev Kev and others, Linda Toland and some other people, and getting people to be able to use Zoom for worship. And I think we should change our name maybe to Zoom in the Desert Ministries, and we are doing. We've learned so much about what it feels like to be, all of us to be home confined, and all of us to be shut-ins, as we used to call them in the old days.
Right.
And we found out that people who were at home were essentially overhearing the service, and now we've really tried to make it so that people at home are participating in the service in meaningful ways, and being able to write their prayer concerns, and being able to even take part in the liturgy. So we're hoping that following, once COVID is behind us, that the lessons that we've learned will be helping people who are at home all the time, and who or even temporarily, and they'll be able to be part of our worship service in more meaningful ways. So.
Well, and also distance, because we've acquired, I shouldn't say acquired, we've had the connection with people, like I've said on Sunday morning every once in a while, from coast to coast, and top to bottom, and that's a way in which we will strive to be able to maintain the integrity of that connection in the new arrangement. I guess what it would be is that we will adapt the lessons that we have learned, and for doing our Sunday morning service as well as other kinds of meetings and so forth in the future. And I just have to say that it was Ken Forney, music director Ken Forney, and Steve, who to some extent rescued me on that first night when we were on the verge. Actually, I had said we're going to cancel Sunday worship, for the first time in our history on Palm Sunday morning, because we had just received word that we couldn't do it the way we'd been doing it here in the office, and this was shut down, and what are we going to do? And I give them credit and very much, and Steve took over the next morning. He was scheduled to preach anyway. It was Palm Sunday, and he took over and led us through that. So I'm really, really grateful for that. So you've been a church musician, trained in Boston as a musician, and you've been a pastor in New England, as well as Phoenix, Arizona, and retired, as well as you participate, as you live 6 months of the year in Mexico. You participate with congregations there. So how do you, What's the deal about Bloom in that mix?
Well, it's great to be in a church that loves to worship and that takes worship seriously and still has fun with it. And which is the great thing. I was 20 years in Massachusetts in one church and 20 in Phoenix, and the thing that these three churches have in common is that worship is a primary function of the church, and I really believe that worship is sort of the font, that we have our encounter with a special encounter with God on Sunday morning, or intentional meeting with God and God in one another, and we that the rest of what we do at Bloom flows from that, I think, and
Yep.
and so it's great to be in a church where that happens, and where that intention is there, and so that's one of the reasons why we're here.
Absolutely. I was taught early on that in church development that you focus on quality Sunday morning and the rest will flow from there.
Yeah.
And that's been one of my mantras in church development. So you've got a new job coming up, church growth and new member involvement, and what's the one thing you're looking forward to most in that role?
Well, I think I have some experience in that in those two churches, and some of it's portable, some of it's transferable, and some of it's not. But for me, it's always a good thing to also be learning what's new in this area, and what membership has changed its meaning in a lot of ways. So I'm kind of exploring that and seeing what we can do for intentional growth.
And it may be that we need to change our language, or it isn't that we got to change our whole structure, but we may need to tweak some aspects of us in order to be more reflective of the realities of our day, which are very different than the 1950s, when a lot of church structures, were basically the expectations were set. Right. For how churches should be organized. Right. That's it. Well, folks, it's time for us to sign off here, but I just wanted to note that the annual meeting annual report is in progress. This is not the final, but it's a draft, and there will be a link for members and associate members sent out by Constant Contact in a few days, and that'll be, you can click on it and read it online or download it for yourself, but it is a lot of pages if you're going to print it out. We're also going to be sending the agenda that way. Now, if you are not a member or an associate member and you would like to get a copy of this, or the online, the PDF, please, Carl Toland, our clerk, is going to have his address. Well, it's clerk@bloominthedesert.org. Clerk@bloominthedesert.org. Carl is available, that you can email him, and we will send this. We don't send this out to all 500 people on our Bloom Notes list, but we will send it to people who are connected and are very interested, even if not a member or associate member. Annual meeting coming up, and that's the 14th. And it'll be right after church, and you'll click on the hospitality link that is in Bloom Notes every week. So we look forward to seeing you there. And as always, we hope you'll be with us Sunday for our worship time, and we're looking forward to being together then. And as always, please keep us in your prayers.